Hello, 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 you guys, and welcome back to another episode of Dear Black Woman. And in today's episode, first of all, I'm Cammie Red. I'm so excited about jumping in today's episode. I forgot to even introduce myself. I am Cammie Red, and as always, I'm joined by my co-hosts, Lauren Edwards and Nicole Davis. Today, we're bringing some fresh perspectives on the topics that so many are so close to so many of our hearts. Love and relationships. Yes, yes, yes. Now, joining us on this conversation is one of our favorite guest co-hosts, Mr. Leonard Lionel. We also have Mr. George Brooks and relationship expert Samantha Gregory. Now, these people are going to add their own insights to the mix, but together we'll be diving into the joys and challenges of love, discussing cultural expectations, interracial dating, and what it means to build and maintain healthy relationships as Black women. This is an open, lively, and real conversation, as always, filled with our own personal stories, our own lessons learned, and a celebration of strength and connection that we all have. So whether you're in love, looking for it, or navigating your way through relationships, you definitely want to tune in for this episode because you don't want to miss what we have to say. Hello, Nicole. Hello, Lauren.
Hello, Lauren.
We're back.
Oh, we're back. And we've got a lot of people with us today. Yes, we do. All right, you guys. So we're going to be talking about love and relationships, and we all know how we feel about that.
Nicole, don't even bother.
Let me laugh about this.
I'm wearing black for a reason.
Listen, I noticed that. I was like, why is everybody wearing black and I have on white today? Am I the only one that's like feeling
you're happy about living relationships? I'm mourning. I'm good.
I can relate.
Okay, ladies, we got to change our perspective as we talk today because we got to represent for the women who have positive outlooks on relationships. Now, despite our personal opinion and our personal dynamic, because all of us have said how we truly feel, okay, we definitely have to be unbiased today, okay? Do you think you can do that?
No, we'll try. We will try. We cannot promise, but we will try.
All right. So first up, I'm going to welcome to our platform is Samantha Gregory. Samantha is, in fact, a relationship coach. And I'm going to let her tell when she comes on. I'm going to let her tell you guys about her book because her book is really, really interesting. So I want you all to listen to what Samantha has to say and find out about her book. So Samantha.
What's up, Samantha?
Hi, ladies.
Help us.
I will do my best, and I'm going to be as honest as possible, but I'm also going to be as compassionate as possible because I think we need a little bit of both when it comes to navigating our thoughts about relationships. And I'm not necessarily advocating that everybody should be in one, but I am saying that in order to be in a great relationship, you need to have a great relationship with yourself first.
Say it again. Yes, Samantha. Speak it.
Preach, Samantha.
Tell us about your book, No More Crumbs.
So my book is No More Crumbs, How to Stop Dating and Mating for Crumbs and Get the Cake You Deserve in 10 Crucial Steps. And it is part memoir.
I like it.
About my story and the 10 steps and lessons I learned coming out of toxic relationships. Because I was a serial toxic relationship person. And so I had to learn some lessons, and I put in this book, No More Crumbs, to just really encourage, inspire, and empower women to move and heal from the toxic relationship stage into a healthy relationship with yourself first, so you can attract healthy relationships, whether it's friendships, relationships, romantic relationships, or what have you. But again, it all starts from within, starts with you, and take you on a healing journey with self-care as an anchor for you to get through it.
I think I'm gonna watch it. I think I'm gonna order that book and send it to both.
That sounds so juicy.
I know we've got so much yesterday. I'm just like, come on, get them on, get everyone on. Come on, Cammie, come on.
All right, so next up, we're going to welcome to the stage George Brooks. He is definitely someone that we need to speak to. He is a motivational speaker, and I'm going to let him come on and tell you guys a little bit about himself, what he does, and why he felt like it was important for him to be on the show today. Hello, George.
Hi, George.
Hello. Hi, my name is George Brooks. Thank you. My name is George Brooks. I'm a transformative speaker. I'm the CEO of Net Association, which is a nonprofit I started 6 years ago to deal with Black male mental health, to fight recidivism and promote healthy fatherhood. I'm an advocate for men. I feel like Black men have been ignored for a long time. And I feel like now is the time for me to speak out and try to do things where we can become self-sufficient and heal ourselves. And by healing ourselves, we can improve our relationships with our women and our communities and really get to the point in society where we should be. So that's pretty much my story.
All right. See now, Lauren, look at you giving him all those applause in the background.
That one there.
All right. Up next is our favorite. This is our favorite co-host, Leonard Lionel. Okay. Leonard, we'll let him come on and tell you all about himself again, but he's been on the show before, and I'm pretty sure this time he's going to have a lot to say.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Leonard.
Hello, sir.
Good afternoon, good morning, greetings, salutations to all.
Thank you.
Is that it? Who are you?
Sorry, apologies.
You said to me, you got
The intro from was enough, but to say more. Hi, I'm Leonard. Leonard, I'm a local businessman in the UK and mentor to many young people within my community. And my role is to be an empowering and powerful figure for young African Caribbean young men within my community so they can see another path in their journey besides what society and the world would want them to be or pigeonhole them into be.
I am just saying, I'm so grateful for all of you guys being guests on today's show. It shows that we definitely have something to learn from each other, and this is going to be a dynamic conversation. So I'm super excited about that. I am going to open up the floor. And my first question, and I'm going to give everyone a chance, so don't everybody speak at once. My first question to you guys is, how do you feel like cultural expectations shape your views on love and relationships? And how have you learned to embrace or redefine these expectations? Lauren, I'm going to start with you.
You know what? Am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yes, we usually do it. It's up to you now. We got guests, so your mama, your mama say you know how to behave in front of guests. So if you want, but I always say show up as your authentic self. So hey.
Do you know what? If I'm being honest, I think I've always witnessed unhealthy relationships, and especially in our community. So like when I look at like my parents, and if I look at, extended family, I think there was a lot. I've had lots of conversations with people about what our childhood looked like and what relationship looked like growing up. And it was dad in and out kind of thing. It was, my mum was very strong. So my mum was very much like, you don't need no man, you don't need this, you don't need that. And I think it rubbed off on me a lot. So I think it's only more recently that I've become a bit more kind of softer to accepting that I think men, people need each other basically. And you do need to have that balance and give and take. So I would say for me, it hasn't always been healthy. And I think in our community, I don't think Black relationships have been healthy within the Black community neither. But I think it's slowly changing. And I think that's because people are starting to work on themselves a bit more. So, yeah, I just hope it continues. And things like this and forums like this and things like what George and Leonard and Samantha are doing, it like you said, it just brings people, gives people more of an understanding so they can continue their relationships, I think, and build stronger relationships moving forward.
Okay, well, George, I'm going to shoot that question to you. How do you How
Sure.
do cultural expectations sort of shape your views on relationships, and how have you learned to embrace or redefine these expectations?
Right. I think many of the notions of relationships, especially lately in the past few years, has been based on or predicated by gender roles. I think right now we're trying to redefine what gender roles in relationships look like in terms of what a man's responsibility in a relationship is, or what a woman's responsibility in a relationship is. But as far as redefining it from my own personal perspective, I'm looking at it more from my standpoint. I think that personally, we're too involved or too preoccupied with relationships instead of healing ourselves. I think we need to show more self-interest and kind of back off the whole I have to be with somebody, the whole coupling phenomenon that's really prevalent and it's really not doing us any good, because we're going into relationships unhealed. We're going to relationships not whole, and we're expecting another person to complete us. It doesn't work that way. So what I'm doing personally, as far as my life, I'm trying to heal myself and become whole. Then I worry about that later. But right now, just based on the way society is going and based on things with women and based on things with men, it's not a priority for me right now. So I'm a little bit different from most people. I'm not really looking right now. I was married for 16 years, divorced. I was engaged for 4 years subsequent to that. I'm kind of burnt out. So this I think a lot of my male friends I talk to, we're kind of on that same boat. It's like we're not worried about trying to pursue a woman right now. We're trying to pursue purpose and self.
Okay, now George, you sound a lot like what women would say, and I'm not trying to be funny, but that's sort of the standpoint that a lot of us have taken, I guess, in our years as well, because that's literally what Samantha's book is about. About not focusing on relationships, but more so focusing on healing yourself so that you can be the best version of you. And if you should decide to be in a relationship, you enter into that relationship healthy, healed, and whole. Do you guys, okay, hold on, Lauren, 1 second. Do you guys think that a lot of the dynamic that we see, or a lot of what's being played up, is exacerbated by social media and social media platforms? Because what I've noticed with social media is they play up these perfect relationships, these perfect lives, these perfect things. And then next thing you know, you're seeing that same relationship fall apart right in front of us as well. Go ahead, Lauren. What did you want to say? You're
Sorry,
on
mute. I was just saying that on the flip side, I totally get what George is saying, but on the flip side, I know people that have been on a healing journey for many years, and actually they don't know now how to actually interact and go forth with anyone else. So there's such a thin line, I think, between healing yourself, becoming this person, and then actually not sticking with just being comfortable by yourself forever and ever, amen. And that's why I think, like, when I look at someone like my mom, that's what happened to her. She went in this space where she went on a journey and healed herself, but now she actually wouldn't know where to start if she to get into any kind of relationship, because she's so used to being by herself. She's built this massive kind of wall around, and nobody can get in. Nobody. She would make excuses if anyone would want to take her out, or if anyone wanted to. She would freak out. So is it about getting a balance of knowing that actually there is a balance to be had in regards to not necessarily going out to seek a relationship, but healing yourself and still understanding that it's okay to have somebody come into your world?
Samantha, go ahead and give us your take on that.
Which part? Because I know we had the question and then we have Lauren's.
You can do all of it all at once.
So as far as the cultural expectations in the Black community, most of it was based in survival mode, and surviving in the world itself, surviving financially. And so there was no onus on either person to develop themselves and become self-aware. And I think that in changing that, or the shift that's happening right now, is people are realizing, hey, well, I don't have to be in a relationship for financial reasons. I don't have to be in a relationship even for sex, if we want to be real about it. So I want to be in a relationship where there is mutual benefit, where both people are considerate and it's a harmonious relationship, versus one person's role or the other person's role, or there being an imbalance. So that from that perspective, I think it's really shifting and changing. And that's what I want more of a egalitarian relationship. But even that is shifting and changing too, because people who are humans see one another as humans and not male or female, not this or that, or a role that you bring into a relationship. But I'm just actually a human being, and I really want to have the love and respect and nurture and support as I'm giving my partner. So I think that is the shift and change that's happening in my life, and I see that a lot is happening in other lives as well. And as far as going on the healing journey, I think that it is a wonderful thing to do, but like Lauren said, you definitely have to have balance. You have to be able to integrate people into your life, because we are human and we want connection. And that's just the reality of it. And when you don't have connections, if you don't have people who are in proximity to help balance you out, like the saying goes, iron sharpens iron, and making each other better, seeing other perspectives, then you start living life in this tunnel, and you just have this one perspective, this one viewpoint, and the fear that causes you to encase yourself in a wall. That's not really healing. I mean, if you want to be honest with yourself, that's really not healing. It's another form of maybe sabotage. It's another form of it's another level, a deeper level of healing that needs to take place still. Okay,
Leonard, what say you?
From a cultural perspective, I think we have to unpack lessons that we learned, because we, as a people, you were shunned upon if you was by yourself at a particular age, or if you're a woman by yourself, or if you're a man that doesn't have kids by a certain age. Those kind of things were like a black mark against your name, for a better choice of words. So as time's moved along, we've been more comfortable with not being with someone, not worried about that stigma, somewhat being forced to not be with someone as well. Of in regards to with yourself, you have the government aid that you have in the States is similar to what we have here. So being pushed to be separate. But culturally, I think there's so much that we need to learn and unlearn for ourselves. The self-healing perspective is an uncharted territory, because we don't know what we're doing, really speaking. We're saying, okay, take that back. I believe, for me, my self-healing is what I believe is my journey. I've had no training in self-healing. I ain't spoken to anyone specifically, but I think I'm doing good for myself. And that's what most of us are doing. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, I've been comfortable and made myself comfortable being by myself, which is what some people have been doing and feel comfortable, because you want to learn to be by yourself. And then when you become too comfortable, you don't really need
the other end. You don't want to then bring anyone else in. But this is why I think Cami and Nicole, you guys are massive advocates of therapy, because hopefully with therapy, like you're saying, Leonard, that you're going into things just self-taught, you're just teaching yourself. Hopefully with therapy and therapists, they can actually give you other ways of looking at things that you might be doing differently. But not everybody is in therapy, or even going to therapy, or even attempting to look. So you've got a lot of Leonards and my mum's, and even myself, where you just sit into something and you get into something, and then you're like, I've built a wall. I don't want to even go to the other side. I'm good with just rolling solo.
And that is also that's also why I believe we are such huge cheerleaders for people seeking therapy. Is because it's not you giving yourself your own perspective on how to do things.
Exactly.
It's someone else taking what you're saying and listening to what you're saying, listening to the behaviors, listening to the things that, have affected you, and then telling you, okay, hey, listen, let's sort of put this in a place where we look at what you've been through versus what you're going through. And let's look at how what you've been through affects where you are right now.
Yes. So it's right, because I've been in therapy.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I was saying I've personally been in therapy 6 years, and I worked very hard at it. And I think that the conclusion that I've come to personally is that a relationship is just not important to me anymore.
Yeah.
It's not something that I feel like I need. It's not something that I feel like is important. If I meet somebody, great. If I don't, I'm great. either way. So it's not, I don't feel that need or compelling to be coupled.
So let me say this. Let me ask you this, because you've made that very clear. But as from a human perspective, we were not designed to be without or to be alone. We were actually designed, even if the relationship is like Lauren, Nicole, and myself, where we're friends, we were designed to have human connection. So you putting that wall up and that saying that I don't desire to be in a relationship or I don't desire to be coupled, is that another form of, like Samantha said, is that another form of you actually, one of your traumas sort of surfacing itself, as opposed to you saying, I'm open to a relationship should that come? Because your languaging is pretty much like you're closing yourself down to anything, whereas all of us should be open to the possibility of life, not just the possibility of relationships, because relationships come and go, people come and go. So even if you are working on healing yourself, there are people in your life, because therapy is a gradual thing. And what I mean by that is, yes, you've been in therapy for 6 years, but your therapist should be telling you to build a circle of support around you as well.
I do have friends. I mean, I do have things like that. But as far as a relationship, I
think you're putting too much stance on the word relationship, because and I think what you're doing is exactly what Lauren is saying about her mom, where you're closing yourself off to a situation, because I don't know if what you guys' religion or spirituality is, but what do you know what God has planned for you right now? And why are you closing yourself off to any blessing that may come into your life, whether it's from a relationship standpoint or any other standpoint? But before you answer that, I want to get Nicole's perspective, because I haven't allowed her to speak on anything.
Oh, Nicole!
I have to talk, okay? So yes, I have listened to you all. So my perspective, because I grew up in a rather volatile environment, even though my parents were together, that had me really, really think about what it looks like. I am a romantic at heart. Don't get me wrong, but I realized that wasn't possible, and all the flowery Disney-like stories were not applying to me, the little black girl. It wasn't. And also, I learned from my parents that you had to the image that they showed me is like you had to stick it out no matter what, even though they didn't really like each other like that. To give you a good example, my parents are separated. My dad is 90, lives in the Caribbean. My mom is in France. They're still not divorced. They are still not divorced. Because what? The judgment of their friends around them divorcing.
Wow. Yeah. That happens a lot as well in
the Caribbean. The eye of the neighbor and the eye of your community on you is huge.
Yeah, but technically, if I'm being honest, and if we're really talking about it, they are divorced. They're just not divorced on paper.
Right.
They live in separate countries. They live in their own lives. And no disrespect, but your daddy probably done had a couple of dates in there. You know what I'm saying?
The terminology is different.
My dad is a Rolling Stone, okay?
Exactly.
My dad is a Rolling Stone. I have half brothers and sisters that I don't know. So yeah.
Wow. But they're concerned about what the community thinks about their marriage.
Thank you. You heard what Samantha said, but they're concerned about what the community thinks about their marriage. But let me say this to you. They come from a very different time.
Yeah,
they come from the time where, just like many of you have said, where we have to unlearn some of the things that we've learned. We were together for different reasons. A lot of us were placed together during slavery and during colonization because it was not even survival of the fittest. It was, I want this buck to be with this doe. And that's literally how they labeled us in that time. So a lot of the things that we've learned or that we have to unlearn derive from those different aspects of how we got to the places that we're at. A lot of the things that we have to unlearn that we learned also came from survival. We got together. You know, initially relationships were about survival, just like Samantha said, whether it was for some financial reasons, whether it was for safety reasons, no, it doesn't matter what it was for. Now, here in the United States, I think the divorce rate is what, 52%. That's because those people who were together for survival are realizing that they don't need their partner for survival anymore.
Right. I was going to ask a question to our guest, because I read something, or maybe I saw something that said that if your friends and family picked your spouse, you would probably last longer in your relationship. Do you believe this to be true? So to all three of you, Samantha, George, and Leonard, do you believe that if your friends and family chose your spouse, you would probably be with them a lot longer because they tend to know you better than you know yourself?
Leonard, you go first, and then we'll move to Samantha.
I think in that instance,
simply no.
So you're saying your friends and family wouldn't be able to pick someone for you?
No, because I'll say the person I am with my friends and family is different to who I am with my partner. So they'll get a percentage of me and may get a aspect of that person correct, but the person that I really need, no.
But then what I'm saying, it's clearly not working. That's not just to you, Leonard. I mean, like anyone who's single. Do you get what I mean? You know, when you keep picking.
Hold on, let Samantha answer. Go ahead, Samantha.
No, I agree with Leonard. No, simply because as you're moving through your healing journey, you become a different person, and they don't know that person. And so they would not have the right information, the right even tools, and they have their own baggage that they would bring into the process, which will try to bring you back to the person that they knew when you were unhealed. And so I don't think it will work. I don't think it would be beneficial unless they too have also been on that healing journey. They know you and they have made an effort to know who you are now, because they are truly interested in you, not because of some ulterior motive, because families have ulterior motives, friends too. So I would say no.
What about you, George?
I say no also. I think that oftentimes when you have familial, I think you have that outside influence, especially from family and friends in terms of your relationship. It puts undue pressure on a relationship to stay together, even if it's toxic, because you have all this outside influence and you should be with so-and-so. That usually is going to be the destiny of your relationship. I'm not a proponent of family getting involved in a relationship. I'm not a proponent of friends getting involved. Your relationship should be a solitary thing with that person. I found my personal experiences, it's caused me nothing but trouble. So I try to leave outside people out of it and just deal with that person one-on-one. And those relationships usually last a little bit longer. But the more outside influence you add in, as far as people's opinions and whatever, you're going to have more problems.
No, but from what I understand, arranged marriages last longer.
That's in other cultures.
The stats. Is it not? I thought the stats was arranged marriages tend to last longer.
But are they together because they really want to be together, or are they staying together because of what Samantha, George, and Leonard just said? Because they feel forced to stay together. So those are questions that we have to think about. If an arranged marriage lasts longer, is it because of the pressure of family and friends? Because in other cultures, sometimes arranged marriages are for business purposes.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
We've read stories and seen movies where people are together where the man is gay and he's living his own life and he's doing his own thing, and the woman is just accepting of that because their marriage has to stay that way.
Oh, Cammy.
Hotline.
But I also think that the people's ideas of what a relationship or a marriage should be are very different from our cultural expectations, because we bought into the whole romantic marriage is supposed to be lasting a lifetime. We're supposed to always be in love. We can love will make us endure anything. And in theory, yes. In reality, no. And so when we are realistic about that, when we accept the fact that we have a different viewpoint of relationships and marriage and other cultures, because like you said, Cammie, if it's a business relationship where families are coming together, okay, that's different. If they have the means in order to be in different parts of the house, okay, that's different. They can stay together. But if you're up under one another, if you have a whole lot of stuff that you haven't dealt with, and you end up with a person who has no interest in you, who's abusive, who's self-centered, and not really there for the healing and support of the relationship or the marriage, then you're going to struggle. It's a struggle. And it's idealistic to believe or think that a family can choose a mate for you and it work out, because we just have such different ideas about how we operate in the world. And even here in the United States, wealthy families, they intermarry each other, again, for the business reason, but there's a knowledge and expectation that this may not look like the fairy tale that you've seen in Disney movies, but it is just simply an arrangement, and we're going to make it work.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying, Lauren, is with arranged marriages, you're raised to know that your relationship is not for you. You're raised to know that your relationship is for the betterment of our family. So no matter what it looks like on the outside, this is what you must, what it feels like on the inside, this is what you must present to the world. So you do have a lot of arranged marriages that stay together, but are they really together because they want to be together, or are they together because this is what they've chosen? So it's like me entering.
But I feel like that can be applied to now anyway with what's going on in the world. I feel like a lot of people get into relationships, marriages, commitments, whatever it is, and they've all got their own agendas. I don't believe it's, like things are very different now. Like you see it everywhere. Like women will be like, I want this, I want that, I want to be taken here, I need to have this, I need to, there is certain things that they want before they, their man does it.
But see, those are unhealed perspectives. I'm just gonna be honest with you on it.
But we're talking about young women as well, and when we say unhealed,
so women right now, social media drives so much. It drives the way people see themselves, and what they're looking at is not reality. Yes, they want,
it is their reality, and we haven't been raised in the social media world, so we have two sides. We've seen the best of both worlds, right? And I think me and Leonard have spoke about this loads of times. Like we have had the best of that, and we now are in that. Yeah, so we can separate that. But when that has been your world, when social media has been your world, and you're in your early 20s, and that's all you know, that is their reality. That is their reality.
But
so we can
also,
say that you're unhealed and you're on this, and when you're under, but they look at it like, no, we're not. We just have this. It's just
no. So again, we talked about how social media plays a part in this. But and I stated this before, social media will have you thinking that this life, this is perfect, this is that, this is that, this is that. And then a couple of months later, like there are a lot of social media relationships that we see, and we're like, oh, they're such a perfect couple, and I idolize this, and I want this, and I want this type of relationship. And a month later, or 2 months later, or 3 months later, they're on social media bickering and fighting with each other. They're on social media.
Also women that are happy to have 2, 3, 4 month relationships, and that's just part of their world. Do you get what I mean? Like, we
look at status, though, isn't it?
Sorry,
it's all about status in that sense.
Exactly. I don't think it's narrative we look at as our age. That's why.
But the status symbol.
And a lot of it is a matter. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Leonard.
Sorry. So the status thing has been around for years. Is that social media is the new form of status, because it was, if you're talking back then, is how much sheep or how much cows this family had, how much acres of land this family had, and then how much money, and so on and so forth. And this is just a new form of status that people are adhering to find their partner. It just hopefully within that, what you're that's just simply looking for, you do find someone that actually is for you. But this is where we're at. I don't see it's going to change much, but it's a case of being of that prerequisite of I must have X and they must have Y. Hopefully, you find your person for you within that prerequisite.
I'm just saying, if we was to talk to
Hold on, Lauren. Nicole, what were you going to say?
The thing is that it seems like people base their relationship on external stuff instead of basing their relationship on things. So I did work on that. I did work on this. This is the type of partner that I would like to come. You know, like, I had to get this, I have to get that. Oh, material stuff. When you die, you don't take it with you.
Yeah.
But the thing that you keep with you, it's really the spirit of the person that you are with and that you have did things with. That is what is important at the end of the day, at least to me.
And that's what I was trying to say when I say an unhealed mentality. And it's not saying that they've been through anything. What I mean by that is that you, in your early 20s, what you want is different from when you're in your 40s.
Hell.
So yes, you in your 20s, you can see things from a skewed perspective, and I'm just being honest. But as they learn and as they grow and as they get older, they'll start to come to the same perspective that we all have come to, that things don't matter. Having that money, having all of that, well, they matter, but they don't matter when in forms of relationship. They matter in forms of lifestyle. I don't have to be in a relationship to obtain those things. As a matter of fact, I'll give you guys a prime example. I have a friend who actually told me, and I told Nicole and Lauren this, who told me that I thrive and I do better when I'm not in relationships. When I'm by myself, I do so much better on my own. I create so much better on my own. I live in abundance so much better on my own, because when I'm in relationships, I'm distracted. I'm this, I'm that. So you have to look at it from that perspective. Yes, some of us desire to be in relationships. Some of us desire to have a partner, but is that relationship really the best thing for you? And at a young age, you don't really know. And let's be honest, we didn't learn in our 20s and our 30s. We maybe halfway through our 30s, we caught on to it.
I'm not saying anything. Let me just shut up. Yeah, I'm in my late 20s right now, so I'm still learning.
No, you know what? Why are you gonna tell that whole lie on why you just gonna tell that whole lie like that?
I'm late 20s, still learning, going through my journey, understanding what the hell is going on. Yeah.
But you get what I mean. What I mean is, in our 20s, we live for a different reason than what we live for in our 30s and in our 40s. In our 20s, it is very much what is hip, what is now, what is what is going on in the world type of situation. We all did that. We all went through that phase in our 20s. We did.
But I will ask you guys, so now, obviously, like what you've just said, Cami, and I think a lot of people mirror what you say, like that when you're on your own, you tend to do a lot better, you concentrate, you thrive, whatever. But that sort of starts to change, I'd probably say, when you reach your mid-60s or maybe your 60s. All of a sudden, I need to get someone because I don't want to be by myself.
I don't either. That's
what I'm saying. When does it change? And you start, hanging around the bingo halls and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not going to bingo, Lauren. I'm not.
Leonard, I'm going to catch you at the local bingo.
No, I'm not.
Oh no, you'll catch me. I'll be good by then.
We'll be at the Domino Club.
No, I'll be good by then. I'll be good. I'll be settled.
Yeah, like I'm gonna find somebody, Lauren.
Okay? This is what I'm saying. So, is there a certain age that you start going?
No, I think it depends of your own evolution. It's not, love is not a matter of age. Like people get married in their 90s.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
No, Nicole, there is definitely an alarm. There is an alarm that goes off at some point in you guys' age where you start saying, okay, I need to sort something out. I can't just.
Yeah, but the thing is, I was thinking when I was in my 30s, I was like, oh, I should get married. And then at 40, I was like, oh, I should get married. And I was like, oh, now I'm like, oh, I don't give a fuck. That is the truth, because there's other ways of a relationship shouldn't be defining you.
Right.
The things that
you defining you though. I want to say defining you. You gotta think you want to share your life with a person.
Yes, it should be something that is free flowing, rather. Like
that's not defining you though, isn't it? Is that's a fact of I want to make sure that I am not alone, and loneliness is the one thing that's gonna get everyone. So if it's gonna be a case of am I gonna be with someone not to be lonely, or am I not gonna be someone to have them define me? It's more so about the loneliness perspective, not about being defined.
Yeah, but the thing is also there's plenty of people who don't think that they have accomplished anything if they're not in a relationship. Look at all the rhetoric about what people are expecting from women, like we should be a woman because we are married and because we have popped a few kids. Like, excuse me.
I think that's changing though, no, right?
That's a valid point, but I want to ask a question. What challenges do you guys believe Black women face in relationships, and how can partners support each other in navigating these?
Well,
let Samantha answer.
The challenges are we are the challenges of our history. We are bodies that have witnessed and lived tremendous trauma. Yet many of us didn't address it, and yet people are not realizing at the point in which it influenced our lives. If I hadn't been in therapy, I wouldn't have truly realized the impact of it. On me, on my parents, on my great grandparents. It's just mind boggling.
Okay, Samantha, go ahead.
Yeah, so there are many challenges. And I think of it is because Black women have been pushed out into the media as a certain dynamic. You either a Maggie, you're a Sapphire, you're the what's the other one? The whore. So there's 3 or 4 different categories.
Put it out
you
there,
are
right?
absolutely right, Samantha.
We talked about this before. We've actually said this before. So go ahead.
Right. Yeah. So when you have these narratives written around who you are as a person, people don't allow you to be the person that you are. So I think that's one of the major challenges. And so when you have these scripts written for you, then people expect you to follow the script and to behave the certain way that they've placed you in this specific category. And so it becomes hard to find authentic relationships because either you're fetishized or you're hated. Either you are made to feel like you should be the one carrying the weight of the relationship and everyone else in your life and your family, or you are irresponsible. You either are sleeping with everybody because you're fast and hot because you have a certain body shape, or you're supposed to be feeding everybody because you have this big voluptuous body and a pretty face. And so it's like all these different things are causing the challenges that Black women face in their ability to have a healthy relationship, to be seen as an individual and to be accepted as an individual versus these narratives that people have been labeling you as. And I find that when you step out of that, people get upset. They get real nasty with you. But you have to stand your ground and say, no, that we're not a monolith. We're not just these 3 things. We are beautiful, varied individuals, and I deserve to have my chance to be known, be seen, and be protected because I am me. I am not every woman. I am me. So I think when we are able to be clear about our identity and not buy into those narratives, then we can, I guess, improve the chances of being in a relationship with a healthy person, because you also become healthier. You also notice and see when people are labeling you, when they're gaslighting you, when they're trying to fit you in a box or a narrative that really doesn't belong to you. So you can say, you know what? No, that's not for me. You're not for me, because I see you're trying to box me in. You're trying to make me into something that I am not. And I've been through that many times from inside of my relationships. And it was a horrible feeling, because I never really was allowed to be myself, because they were so insistent that I be this particular thing.
Okay, you guys, we're going to come back. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back. And Leonard, I have some questions for you as well as the black man on this panel.
I'm ready for it.
What happened to George?
He dropped off by mistake. He said his Wi-Fi got cut by the outside workers. So he apologized and he had to go. Dear Black woman, this is my gift to you. Life throws many challenges our way, but within these pages, you'll find love, strength, and empowerment. These letters are written to uplift your spirit, celebrate your resilience, and remind you of your worth. Every letter speaks to your soul, offering encouragement, support, and a reminder that you are never alone in this journey. These words are crafted to inspire you to embrace your path, find joy in your growth, and shine brightly in your truth. Dear Black woman, this is for you. Read it, feel it, live it. Love, Cami Red. Okay, we're back. So, Leonard, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
You sound like I'm going to.
Go ahead. Go on.
Leonard, I'm sorry that you're now the only male voice on this panel.
Oh, don't be sorry. I'm good. I'm good for myself. I'm good.
Right, but we're not going to beat you up. It's you and 4 women. You should be very happy.
In my past life, yes. Now.
But now you're healed.
Yeah, I'm a new person now.
Okay, what are some misconceptions or assumptions that you've seen about Black women in relationships, and how have you challenged or changed your views or those views in others?
Wow. The main misconception is the role, as Samantha's mentioned, the role or the narrative of a Black woman within the household. That your job is, or your duty is, to do X, Y, or Z. Again, you know exactly what most of them will be, and I hope the listeners will be. But that misconception is, it's she, the missus is doing that. I don't need to do this as a father, as a man, because the missus got that in control, or I will back off because she should be doing this or she should be doing that. And of course, Samantha mentioned already the narrative or the box that women are put in. So then what we do as some men is that, okay, that's what's meant to be the case for women. That's their role. So we are going to step back and not do what we should be doing or assisting how we should be assisting, because that's their role. And then with that also is the hardness, I think, the stereotype of hardness of Black women. Unfairly, but I suppose the pressures, in my opinion, the pressures that Black women are under in general from society, from their community, from their peers, there's an element of hardness that's required to be stronger than the rest. But of course, we then put it, when I say we as in Black men, put it on them as they're too hard to be the woman for me. They're too hard to give me what I want because of whatever reason. So the hardness is not their fault, of course. You know?
Yeah, I've been called masculine a lot, so I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
even that kind of label, masculine, makes no sense to be fair. But you know, I'm in my masculine. It's just, but nevertheless, those are the stereotypes for me that Black women do face, and we are at fault for it as a community and also men in general.
So
wow.
yeah,
Can you make sure you clip that
I'm
bit?
definitely clipping
Just
it.
that bit.
Yeah,
We are at fault, just in general.
No, I'm clipping the whole thing. Okay.
See you, Rina. Is it? You're not, okay. No problem.
You know what? You see when Leonard goes out on the weekend, yeah, and any women see this shit,
Yeah.
they're gonna be like, "You."
Hold on, wait.
I'll be home. I'll be home reading Samantha's book. Actually, yeah, I won't.
Listen, no, I'm gonna clip this.
No
and
more
then
crumbs.
I'm gonna post a picture
No more
of
crumbs.
when he was in Tunisia with those boxes, those bathing shorts on, and his whole chest out. I'm gonna put that picture up as well.
What are you talking about?
Nothing, Cammy. Oh,
that is some details.
Talking about. Yeah.
I'm going now. Wait, this podcast is really nice.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. So yeah, no more crumbs. Yeah.
You want the loaf of bread now, Leonard? Yeah. You know? He's like, I'm going to the bakery. I want the whole loaf. I don't want.
All right, Samantha, I have a question for you. As a relationship expert, what boundaries or self-care strategies would you recommend for building and sustaining healthy relationships amongst Black women?
That's an amazing question, because the boundaries issue is, we talked about that a lot already. And I think differentiating or being specific about what a boundary is not a wall. It should be more of a fence, because if you build walls, you imprison yourself. Versus a fence where you're able to open a door, you're able to see people through it, you'll be able to touch other people and allow that in your life. So I say build fences, not walls. And even to the point where the fence is a low fence, it doesn't even have to be a high one. That's, you can't scale over it. But in terms of like the really practical part of building boundaries, it's of your ability to say no. No, that's really my biggest word right now is no. And being clear about the reasons why. Who are you is important. An important question, because if you don't really know who you are, but you're operating from a place of, well, this person told me I'm this, or that person said I'm that, or my family says I'm this, or I should be that, or society says I should do this, you are so caught up in a people-pleasing role that the boundaries are so thin or non-existent. But you have to move out of that people-pleasing role and get into a radical, dare I say, selfish role, and begin to take a deep dive into who am I as a person, and getting what I say, a PhD in who you are, so that you are so clear, so profoundly sure of who you are that the love naturally springs forward, because you fall in love with the person that you are. And when you have that self-love, the boundaries naturally come, because self-love doesn't allow people to run over you. They don't allow people to talk to you any kind of way. They don't allow you to let people determine or dictate your journey, your path, or how you should operate in the world. And so those boundaries they're just a natural springing up and outpouring, because a lot of times we say, well, I have boundaries and I have boundaries, and you can't do this and you can't do that, but they're really weak, because again, you don't know who you are, and you have not created a standard, a policy, procedures about how you operate in the world, who you are, and how you want to show up. So it's just really and then the self-care comes in with that radical selfishness is, I take care of me first. I fill my cup up first. I make sure that cup is filled to the very brim, and any overflow, well, that goes to other people. That's all I can give, is whatever is in the overflow, which is completely opposite of what Black women have been told they should be. We should always be giving until we're giving from the last drop and we're depleted. And so we're trying to give from a place of depletion, and that again blurs the lines. It blurs the boundaries. You have no boundaries. You sets you up for codependent relationships where you are so concerned about pleasing other people that you forget about yourself. You forget about your health. You forget about your finances. You forget about all the things that are important to make sure that you thrive. And it becomes really impossible to be happy, live life where you're flourishing. And so you begin to see where you're missing the mark, where you're missing out on happiness, you're missing out on the ability to thrive. And so despair and depression and all those things start to rear their head, and health problems start to really be exacerbated because the boundaries aren't there.
I love that. You're absolutely right, because when I was talking about my friend saying that I'm distracted when I'm in relationships and I thrive when I'm not, it's because when I'm in a relationship, I give my all to that relationship. And that's totally what you just stated we should not be doing.
Exactly.
And it's where we come in and I put myself on the back burner so that I make my partner the head of my life, the head of everything that I do, the absolute, everything is about them. Everything is about what they need, what they, what I can do for their lives, as opposed to how we can do this together.
Leonard, can I ask you, sorry, just because I like to get men's perspective on certain things. Do you believe that, are you seeing the Black woman change from, obviously, different ages, when you're in the 20s, when you're in the 30s, when you're 40s, but are you seeing Black women as a whole changing within relationships as well?
Yes. More so with themselves and within their relationships, because I've seen my experiences that we touched on already is a lot of Black women that I know are single. That sounds wrong. That sounds wrong. There's a good few Black women that are single because they're comfortable being single on the basis that they've had whatever they had and they need to heal, they need to correct themselves and so on and so forth. And then they're there in that moment in being single, and they haven't looked upon pursuing anything else, and they've been comfortable. I'm good. I'm me. I've got everything I need. I'm set. I've got my job, and that's it. That's the change I've seen over time, more so than the want to be in a relationship, the requirement of being in a relationship, the requirement of being someone, regardless of how bad or toxic it may be, or how unhappy they may be, they need to be in a relationship. So 100% I've seen a shift.
So then what do you think that does long term then, Nicole? Sorry, long term, what do you think that's going to do if we do have a wave of Black women that get stuck?
I don't think it's stuck. I think what it's going to force men to do is sort of get outside of themselves and what their norm is and what they're used to doing. And I think it's going to have, like George said earlier, have men where they go on their own healing journey and they look for the things that they can not where they're the provider, but where they're also the partner.
But George seems like he's the exact mirror of what women are doing. So if you've got men on this journey,
that's what I said too.
If you've got men doing that and women doing that, guess what? No one ain't coming together. But
see, that's where that bridge comes in. That's what I was saying to George earlier about you cannot isolate yourself, because that's another form of you dealing with and hiding within your own trauma. Yes, it's okay to be on a healing journey, but you also have to be open to the possibilities of what's going to happen in life. So those people who are hiding behind I'm healing are not truly healing. They're just subduing whatever pain and trauma that they have endured, so that they don't, because see, to me, healing means that I'm open to possibilities. It means that I am open to, yes, I am on my own healing journey. This is something that I'm going to have to do on my own, but I'm also open to whatever comes my way, whatever the universe or God sends my way. I'm open to it. I'm not closed off to the entire world. When you close yourself off to the entire world, that's not healing. That's not healing at all. That's actually you hiding from what it is that you already endured. You're hiding from the world. You're not healing. You're not doing any of that. You're actually making your situation worse. And then you're telling yourself that this is okay. This is this is that. That's not true.
It's for me, the only way I look at it is a good filtering system, because like I was hiding for many years, and I'm changing and growing all the time. And I think some women are the same. But if I'm able to come across a woman who understands that aspect of herself and could navigate herself and her emotions and know that, all right, this is where I'm at and this is where I need to be, and it's not closed off. I suppose it makes the dating scene a bit more clearer and less foggy, because you're now coming across more individuals who are like-minded, and you know, who off the bat are not like-minded, because they're telling you everything you need to know from the first few seconds. I'm healing, I'm on my journey, and I'm doing this. I don't want to chat to you. Cool. On to the next. If someone says I'm healing, I'm trying to improve myself, but when the next one comes for me, I'm ready to receive him, then I know this is the one I need to pursue. So I look at it as a good filtering system for us all. There's going to be a max exodus, of course, but I don't think it'll be as detrimental, I suppose. Maybe I'm being optimistic or naive, but I don't think
you're not. You're actually telling the truth, and I'm agreeing with you on that statement. But Nicole, what were you going to say?
I wanted to ask Leonard, so how about your male friends? What's the trend for them? You know, because you're seeing your female friend.
She froze.
What do you see?
Nicole, you froze.
You froze in the middle of your question.
I think Leonard done it on purpose.
How did you know?
No, I wanted to ask, what do your male friends are doing, you know, compared to your female friends? Because per what you said, they are working on themselves.
She froze again. Leonard, what you doing?
I'm telling you, Leonard's doing it on purpose. You keep freezing.
Right. So Nicole, you froze again, but I'm gonna try guesstimate what you're saying. So I'll answer the question. So some of my peers who are like-minded like myself, willing to grow in themselves, they are doing so. But I've got a large group of peers who are in relationships anyway. So it is what it is. I'm kind of like one of a few that are not. So I'm the outcast, if you will. But I think little by little, we are as a group coming together and being more open with each other, which is something that I would never have thought I'd been doing 10 years ago, in discussing where we are and the space that we're in, or where we should be within ourselves, and also moving forward relationships. Because we all had a facade when we was younger. We all had the egotistical perception of, yeah, I'm this, I'm that, and so forth. And love wasn't even a topic. It was just a case of being, yeah, I've got my girl and she loves me, but I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Not thinking about that aspect. But I think a lot of us are now talking about it and being honest with ourselves about it. Those who want to and are comfortable doing so. Because with us as Black men, not to make a statement for all, but we're still hung up on the emotional perspective and opening up. There's still that cocoon and that shell around us and being vulnerable within our feelings and our previous traumas. We're still perpetuating ourselves as the strong, masculine, nothing can't taint us facade. So to break it down, we're getting there. Little pockets here and there. We're getting there. Hopefully, I'll answer the question.
Okay, no, that's good to know.
Okay, let me ask you guys a question. What lessons have you learned from past relationships that have influenced the way you approach new relationships? And I'm going to say this, I know Lauren is not going to want to answer this question. Off screen, listen.
Lauren, come back.
Yeah, or future partnerships. Like, what lessons have you guys learned from past relationships that have influenced the way you approach new relationships or future partnerships? We'll start with I'm gonna take Leonard off the hot seat because everybody's been on Leonard. So Leonard, I'm gonna give you a moment, but I'm coming back to you. So we'll start with you, Nicole.
Oof. What?
Hold on. Can I just get myself comfortable because I want to hear Nicole's one.
Yeah, I did learn a lot of things. Lord. I learned that I can love again. Because I've been heartbroken many times. I'm a Pisces. I'm sensitive.
Nicole.
Yeah, that's the thing. So for me, it was really not doing my best not to drown into my sorrow.
Okay.
Really.
Okay, Samantha, what about you?
Lessons I've learned. I think there was 3 major lessons I learned. One is that I really need to be clear about who I am as a person and what I want in relationships. Because if you don't define that, I mean, you're just looking for love. You want someone to love you and, someone to take care of you and to make you feel good, then that's not a good enough reason to be in a relationship or even stay in a relationship. The other thing is that there are lessons to be learned from the person that you were in a relationship with, whether it was a good or a bad relationship. There's always a lesson to be learned in it. And it's an experience. It's not defining me. It's just an experience I had, a lesson I learned. I released them and I'm good. And that's a process. It wasn't instant. And the last thing is self-forgiveness, because you didn't know what you didn't know. I didn't know. I wasn't really hip into the ways of the world because I was very sheltered in the church. And so I didn't date a lot when I was younger. So I didn't know what it meant to be drawn in and seduced into a relationship. I didn't know about the mind games that were being played. I didn't know about gaslighting. I just didn't know what I didn't know. And I made a choice and decision based on those things. And so I had to learn to really deeply forgive myself for that and let it go, release it, and give myself a lot of grace. So I think those are the major things I learned in relationships.
What about you, Lauren?
That no one is worth prison.
That's a good lesson.
That's a good lesson.
I like getting my hair done. I like getting my nails done. There are certain places you will not be able to get it done. So that's what I've learned.
Okay.
No, and also I think, Samantha, one of the things you've just said was that to learn to, I think, take accountability as well for your own. That's the only way you can move forward with anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
You keep pushing it and projecting it on the other person. What have you learned here? You're going to continuously gravitate towards the same person because you need to alter what's going on to get something different. So I think for me, that's what I've learned to, when you talk about healing and stuff, not just the fluffy shit, but the stuff that's really that's going to rip your shit apart as well and say, actually, what the fuck was you doing whilst this shit was going down? I know
that's the most difficult part, to look at yourself and be like,
it really is. I mean, once you have like a few vodkas or whatever you decide to drink, you can really unpick it. Just write that down, write it down where you was the bitch.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off of Lauren when she says, taking accountability. What I've also learned is and I know this is probably not the same with a lot of females, is to stop dating my father.
Wow.
Stop dating my father. My father was a very prevalent role in my life, but what I also realized is my father was also the source of a lot of my childhood trauma. So in looking at men and when deciding to date men, I was looking for the man that was very similar to my father because I was confused about what love looked like from a father-daughter perspective. And I thought I wanted that same dynamic and going through therapy taught me that no, that's not what I'm looking for. I need to stop trying to date someone like him and date someone that's good for me because I'm nothing like him. I'm totally opposite of him, which means that my partner has to be the balance of who I am, as opposed to me trying to always try to find this father figure, and not really so much a father figure, but what I determined or what I told myself my father was like in my life. So I wanted a man who was going to do the same thing. But I also, like Lauren said, you know, accountability is a huge part of relationships. You have to take accountability, especially when you're in toxic relationships and you're blaming everything on your mate. Mm-hmm. Everything is not your mate's fault. A lot of the things that we endure and that we deal with come from our own feelings about ourselves. I learned that in my last relationship. A lot of what my mate was saying to me and doing to me was a reflection of me. It wasn't it was him literally telling me what I already believed about myself.
Yep. And that's the bit that always hurts when someone says something to you and they go back and say, well, you know, it's the bits that hurt that are true, you know, because when they're not true, they don't really hurt. But when they are true and when they hit home, then they hurt, right?
Yeah. So they may be true, but they may not also be true. For instance, the whole statement of me being worthless. That's something I believed about myself. That's why it was so easy for him to make me feel that way. But that's actually not true.
Mm-hmm. But also that is not for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it that he shouldn't say it, but it's not for him. You feeling that way is
exactly that's on me. That's not on him. That's on me. Yeah, and that's where the accountability comes in, where you have to say, you know what, that's not his fault. And I'm grateful, and I say this, you guys, you ladies hear me say this all the time. I'm grateful for that experience because of what it taught me. What it taught me was to pay attention to what I thought about me. Because what I think about me is on the level in which I date. I date men who are going to think the same thing about me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's my fault. That's my issue. And I have to fix that issue before I move forward in another relationship, because I don't want to keep dating the same man over and over and over again.
Exactly. No, exactly. Because the thing is, our relationship are mirrors of ourselves.
Yes,
exactly.
They are. Mm-hmm.
So why do I have to say this?
I'm honest. That's being you know, honest. That's, you look at yourself. Yep. I have to work on that. You know, they just highlight the place where you need some work, and that is that.
Thanks, Nicole. Thanks for that. Thanks.
I'm sorry.
So, Leonard, now I'm putting you back on the hot seat. My same question to you: what lessons have you learned in past?
Yes, Leo, give us the truth.
I don't think you want the truth. Okay.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, you can.
Tell us.
So, what have I learned? So, just again to repeat what both Cammy and Lauren has said about accountability. I've learned about accountability about myself. I've learned that my vulnerability is not a weakness. I've learned what my love language is, what love means to me, because for many years I didn't know what it was, period. I've also learned what my flaws are in regards to my emotions and my triggers, if you will. I've learned that. I've also learned that I've learned how to communicate. I learned how I prefer to be communicated with, and just this communication in general, because that was also a problem for myself. This is a long list. I've learned that
he's going through therapy right now, aren't you?
It's a journey.
It's
a journey. I've learned that being by myself is okay, and what I mean by that is just saying to, even though my partner may not have liked it at the moment, but saying, you know, I'm just going to just be by myself. I'm going to go home. I'm just going to just be in my own space. And that's where I need to, what's the word I'm looking for? Need to reevaluate myself, need to review and go over and break things down. So that worked for me. So I think it might not sound good if I told my mate I'm going to be by myself for a moment, but nevertheless, I think that works for me. So I've learned that. I've learned not to pander to my peers. I think that's the main one. I got caught up in it. I need to be a particular way with my partner, or what's the word I'm looking for? When it comes to my partner, I used to be the one who used to ridicule, bully, and make jokes of my peers who would want to spend more time with their partner more than us. And and now I've realized, okay, like you was doing that was wrong for doing so, because
you're the reason why people are splitting up out here. You see you.
Not now. Before, yes.
It wasn't me.
Not yeah. Before, maybe, but no. Those are, to name a few. Those are the few things I've learned about myself.
Wow, that's a list.
Yeah. But no, I give you kudos for that list.
Yeah, because not a lot of men can fess up to that.
Not a lot of men can recognize those things, especially when you said not only the way you communicate, but the way you desire to be communicated with. So that means that if someone isn't talking to you in the way in which you desire, you have the foresight to be able to say, hey, listen, I want to hear you. I want to hear what you're saying, but this is how I need you to say it to me. So I want to commend you and give you kudos for that entire list, because not just men, but men and women need to learn some of those aspects and some of those things as well.
He's not going to stop now, Cammy. You do know this, right? He's on a roll, so just be prepared.
At least for next time. At least for next time. Do you know, just drop little breadcrumbs.
Oh, sugar! No more crumbs. No more crumbs. So
okay, Samantha. Okay, you guys, let's switch to a different topic. One that I think has been trending, so to speak. And I'm not going to say this year, but I'm going to say in the past couple of years. Interracial dating in the Black community. This year we
Lauren, come back.
This year we saw the Black wife effect. This year we saw, Black men get mad about the Black wife effect. We saw all of this happen in this past year or so, but we have already known that, Black men have dated outside of their race forever, and it was never a problem for us. But now that Black women are putting their interracial dating on the forefront, what are you guys' opinion about interracial dating? Have you dated outside your race, and how do you think this is going to affect our culture? And Samantha, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I like it. I think that it does open us up to more possibilities for love, for connection, for being seen, nurtured like we should be. Because when we have this, because of this contentious history between Black men and Black women, unhealed or healed otherwise, it's important for women to never close the door on the possibility of love from wherever, as long as they are being treated well, as long as they're being respected, as long as they are being treated the way they should be treated, deserve to be treated, then it doesn't matter if there's Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, or whatever. It doesn't matter. And it's just the times that we live in. We're no longer in, the cultures where you only see all Blacks or all whites or all Asians. We're no longer living in that world anymore. We're very multicultural, and it's just a part of who we are. And I think people who are afraid of that, because or insecure about that, it is a them problem, not a you problem. So it's important to differentiate and not make it a you problem when they have a problem with it.
Okay.
And yes, I dated outside my race.
Leonard, what about you?
Okay, what are you asking me when you say what about me? What are you asking me? Have I?
He sunk into the lion. He went
way back into the lion den. Okay. You will not be. Wait, Leonard. You've been here before. This is a judgment-free zone. Okay.
It's all good. It's not you guys. It's your listeners. Anyway. No. So I've dated outside of my race a good few times. Sometimes to rebel. And also just
that is honest.
Sorry?
That is honest.
Yeah. So, well, I'd like to be honest, with you. I don't want to say that. Yeah, so to rebel also, because I'm open. I don't have a closed filter, the United Colors of Benetton for myself. So yeah, I'm not shut off. There is still a little part of me who's still hung up on the fact of being, I think I should be with someone who understands my plight, my journey, just in general. So I don't have to kind of, if a situation came up, I shouldn't have to explain that situation. They would already know instinctively how to move, how to speak, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, this is the times we're in. So, but I'm not against it. I think a part of me still wants the ideology of a African Caribbean home, and that image to make sure that we are going to be here forever, primarily. Because I think sometimes if we do become more relaxed with it, no judgment at all, if we become too relaxed, and then we as a people, our history, our legacy, our cultures will be dispersed, faded away. So I think it's important to do so. But non-serious relationships, I 100% have dated outside of my race.
Yeah, I do too. I call myself an equal opportunity dater. You know how they do with the jobs, where they say this is an equal opportunity position.
Yes,
I am an equal opportunity dater. Okay, your color, your race does not faze me. Okay, what phases me is how we gel together, how you're going to treat me, and what that's going to look like. I have, like you, I have given myself these standards where I feel like I have to be with an African American man or a man of Black descent, but I am learning that may not always be what's best for me.
Right,
Lauren.
I think you're missing Nicole first.
No,
girl, they talked about you.
Nicole first. I think Nicole was next.
No, ma'am. Watch this. Even if I went in alphabetical order.
Lying.
let me laugh.
I'm really confused. I'm navigating through life right now, and I think I've always had this ideology of, as Leonard said, like being with a Black man and always having that sort of Black family. And maybe because I feel like I'm a bit scarred because I grew up in such a white community, in a white area, and also my family are very mixed. So like all my aunts, my uncles, everything are white, and my nan's white, and I've seen lots of things happen in my time, and some of them have scarred me. And to be fair, in the Black community, they've scarred me, but not enough to move me over, which is really weird. So I have, I always had this thing where I never wanted to get into a situation where I felt like, is he saying this because I'm Black? You know what I mean? I never wanted to, it might not happen, but I don't ever want to. And also I've seen people like my family where they are with Black men and they're white. And when it's broken down, things have been said that shouldn't have been said. Things have happened that shouldn't have happened. I've had uncles make absolutely disgraceful remarks about, you know, some of the Black people in my family, and a lot of that has fed into how I feel about those kind of relationships. But I do believe that as I'm getting older, I would say that I am open to love. And everyone's open to love. And where it comes from, it comes from. But I do think there is something in the back of my brain that always kind of niggles. And yeah, that just, because like I said, no one's worth going to jail for. And I think if someone said something to me that was not appropriate, then there's going to be a problem. You know what I mean? So, but I'm definitely to open to love wherever it may come.
All right, Nicole, what about you?
Oh, Lord. Well, I'm definitely open to it. As you probably know, I grew up in Normandy, and my very first boyfriend was a white guy. So, you know, there were very few Black people at the time where I grew up. So, yeah, no, I'm open to it. Definitely, I'm open to it.
Do you ever feel funny you guys that have ever dated outside your race? I've never dated outside my race. Did you ever get into a point where you felt like people were judging you, or even within your relationship you felt a bit judged or a bit different, or was there anything that made you feel uncomfortable with the first time actually dating outside of your race?
See, I'm of the adage, not about people judging me, so I really don't care what other people think. I date because they're like both of you all. I grew up in a very mixed race society. A lot of my schooling, a lot of the people that I hung out with, because of my father's role in the state, was Jewish and white boys, and I went to a very all-white school in a different part of the community. What really got me was, it wasn't the white people that judged me. It was the Black people that actually said what they said about me. White people didn't mind. It wasn't really an issue for them. It was more of an issue from within the house. Like I always tell you ladies, it's never an issue that comes from outside of the house. It always starts within the house. I had to hear things from my cousins, from my, relatives and stuff about me dating a white boy and thinking I'm white and thinking I'm this and thinking I'm that. And I'm like, no, I'm just open to whoever is loving me and whoever is treating me right at the time. I'm not opposed to your race, your gender, any of that does not matter to me. That's not a case for me. For me it's how do you treat me? How can we grow with each other? Those are the things that matter. And if any of them got out of line mouth wise because they felt like they could because they were dating a Black girl, then I quickly corrected that as well. I don't have a problem.
I don't think sometimes the immediate relationship ever is the issue. If I've seen like one thing, my cousin, he's white and his partner, she's Black. And one thing, this was in the 80s, and he is very much into Black culture as a whole. He was raised by a Black man, and he probably would view himself in that sort of state, the food, the this, the music, everything. But one thing his girlfriend said to me, she split up with him one day and broke his heart. They were together like 10 years as well. And one day she just split. And she said, I just can't take the pressure of everyone else. I love him so much, but I can't take what the outside world is doing to us.
And I'm telling you, it's coming from us. It's coming from us, our own people. It doesn't come
from both. I think it's come from both. I think an aging. I mean, when you're inside this bubble is fine, but when you start going to families, let's not act like if the white boy brings home his Black girlfriend, that the family or the grandparents might not raise their eyebrows, just like the other way around. If you bring home a white boy, the grandparents and maybe your parents do not raise their eyebrows as well. So I think it's not necessarily the two individuals. I think, like we've spoken, touched about earlier, the outside, the families, the friendship rings, the people of a different generation as well.
Yeah, all of the above, and insecurities as well. So that was the number one thing for me. Like I suppose I was imagining more things that were there because of my insecurities than that was actually there. Thinking that people are watching me more than they actually were watching me, or I'm watching people watching people, and then as soon as they watch me or we catch eyes, again, they're watching me because of this reason. The family aspect, most definitely that's there as well. Don't want to say the word, but the embarrassment of the ridicule that may come your way because of the interracial relationship. So these are the factors for me, for sure. But like, it was strange because I'm similar to yourself-ish, Lauren, where a lot of my uncles married Caucasian women. So most of my cousins are dual heritage. So it's not to say that my family directly would have had a problem with it, but still there is the external and the other side of the family is always going to look upon it. So that was a thing for me. But
I think even worse being a Black woman with a white man than being a Black man with a white woman. I think people have had longer time to see Black men with white women and with other races. They've had time to process that. And so it's only now that more Black women are dating outside their race, but there's still that thing that we're getting over. So maybe in 10, 20 years time, it becomes just like, you know, whatever, like you would do when you do see black men with other races. Because back in the day, you could back me up, Leonard, on this. I don't know. We used to see black guys, and we used to walk past them, and if they had a white girlfriend, they'd let go of their hand if they like walk close, or if they come up past like another black woman or whatever, they might have been holding their hand, let go of them, because like you said, they might have thought that you're going to judge them. Embarrassment. And I think, but we've had so much time now to see black men with other races. I think we're still on that journey when seeing black women with other races.
Yeah.
In masses, anyway.
I believe, just touching, I believe there's a slight difference. I think even though like men have populated the interracial relationship more so, but I think from our perspective, I think the cultural thing is still there. But I think with men looking upon black women who are dating outside of race is more just the ego thing. I don't think it hits the same like it would have been with black men with other races. For us, like, sorry?
She said facts.
I think it's a possessiveness thing as well. I think it's deeply rooted in possessiveness and the idea that black women belong to black men. And with that mindset, it is more vitriol related when a black woman is dating a white man, and not so much maybe other cultures because they are of color, but when, especially in the United States, it's like, you doing what now? With a white man, don't you understand our history? Don't you? You know, and get caught.
Yeah, and they dating a white woman too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They can do it, but we can't.
They tend to be the worst. The men that date outside their race tend to have the biggest opinions about black women dating outside their race.
Yeah.
All
right, you guys, let's wrap this up. This is my last question for everyone. How can we encourage healthier discussions about love and relationships within our communities? And I'm going to take this back one step further to even what Lauren said, especially amongst younger generations. We've talked about, for the majority of this podcast, about what it would be like from our perspective. Many of us are over the age of 30. Stop it. Don't go there. Don't go there. Let's just be honest with ourselves, okay? We are over the age of 30, but how can we? Now, we've gotten on this podcast, and I want to say we've had a very fairly healthy conversation about relationships, the openness of relationships, where we find our own faults about, interracial dating, all of those things. But how can we as a community address having these types of conversations in a more healthier way about love and relationships, with everyone? So, Nicole, I'm going to start with you.
No. That's what she thinks.
Yeah, you froze up.
Yeah, no. I'm sorry. I'm freezing. I keep freezing it again. Sorry about that. The thing is, people are free. Love do not have color. Love shouldn't have color. Of course, there's issues between our communities and there's things that we need to work on. But at the end of the day, if that person is truly there for you and is doing the work and wants all that is good for you, go for it. Go for it. Do not stay stuck within parameters that is, making you small. It's a big world. There's many people, and there's many beautiful men of all race today. Oh, come on. Mm-hmm.
All right, Nicole, I know you didn't hear my question.
No, it's okay.
What I said, I said, how can we encourage healthier discussions about love and relationships within our community?
Ooh. Just by being honest and by being curious as well. By being curious and honest as well, and just trying to create also a non-judgment free zone as well. because sometimes damn if you do, damn if you don't, like if we date a white man, we are pariah. If we don't date a black man, come on now. It's just people at the end of the day going to do what is good for them.
Okay. All right, Samantha, and what do you think? What are ways we can be open to more healthier communication about relationships and love in our community?
I think that when we begin to promote and embody loving self first, and especially encouraging our young people to do that, discovering who they are outside of family, outside of relationships, and having their own identity, then I think that's really going to usher in a healthier era of relationship conversations, talks, because people aren't going to be coming from a place of projection or blaming or trying to feel a need from other people. And having been like Nicole said, being honest about it, be honest about where you are. And for those people who are dealing with trauma, who are dealing with hurt, who are dealing with pain and trying to use relationship as a Band-Aid for it, just really calling it out and saying that's not the best way to go about getting, healing and support. So we have to really recognize the purpose of relationships in our lives, that it's not a Band-Aid, but it's really an experience that we choose to have with another person. And we want to help them grow and expand and become the best version of themselves. So I think that is one of the first steps in opening up, promoting healthier relationships and encouraging us to have a healthy relationship with ourselves first.
Oh, okay, Leonard. How can we encourage healthier discussions about love and relationships within our community?
What Samantha said. No, I think bridging the gap between generations, I think, is be beneficial. Podcasts like this is amazing. It's just kind of something to taper off from this, of someone who is conscious about self from the younger community, someone who's conscious about self from the more mature community, and again, them together and just going about a conversation of that nature. Pushing this kind of conversation out more so, because there's podcasts about everything under the sun. There's like 15,000 sports podcasts. There's so much different. We're saturated with so much other podcasts of the same ilk, but it's about really pushing and throwing it out there and making sure that people are willing to hear the topic, because if people are hearing the topic more often, I think it may come to fruition and people talk about it more often than the basics, celebrities and this, that, and the third thing. So bridging the gap is for me, as well as obviously promoting healing and growth amongst ourselves. And what Samantha said.
Lauren.
Come on, Lauren, giving to us.
We promote. Do you know what? I honestly think in everything, I think we're learning to do it a lot better than our parents and grandparents, but to have discussions and be okay with it. I didn't really have much conversations with my mum or my grandparents about these sorts of things, and I think that's changing. I have a lot of open conversations with my daughter, and I think, like you said, I think getting when I say older generation, no, I'm not older generation, getting people of our age group, no, don't even go there, Cammy, and getting people of another age group.
But I thought you were 29 and a half.
And then just opening those doors and not being judgmental, not being judgy, just take it for what it is. Like if you've got, someone who does things that differently from you, embrace it. Everyone learns from each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
it.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to have to agree with all of you all. I just think having this discussion more openly, being available, talking to our younger generation, because Lauren and I both have kids in their 20s. So, keeping that line of communication open. I have a boy child, so I am constantly checking in with him about his thoughts on relationships, on everything, but also the communication between us at our age group has to happen as well, especially Black women and Black men. We've got to learn to communicate with each other differently. Some of the things Leonard said earlier, we've got to learn about different communication styles, how we like to be communicated with, what's our best form of communication. And I think that will open the door for more healthier discussions when it comes to relationships and to how we approach talking about love and relationships amongst each other. Now, with that being said, Samantha, tell us all where we can find your book and how we can buy your book, No More Crumbs.
Yes, sure. So you can buy the book at nomorcrumbsdating.com. And my social media is my name, Samantha Gregory. If you go there, you'll on Instagram, on TikTok and YouTube, it is Samantha Gregory, well, Miss Samantha Gregory. But hopefully we'll have all the links below. But yeah, it also a journal is coming out. Cammie has inspired me to create a journal as well. It's going to be a 90-day breakup journal that will accompany the book. And I'm also offering workshop and coaching called Reclaim My Life, so that after the toxic relationship is over, you begin the reconstruction process and building your life again.
Awesome. Thank you for allowing me to inspire you.
Absolutely.
I'm working on Nicole and Lauren as well. Yeah. Yeah. They got assignments already.
She's bribing me, basically. She's not working on, she's bribing me. I'm here against my will.
Yeah, I'm dragging her along, kicking and screaming. I don't care.
Tough love.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Leonard, and thank you, Samantha, for coming on the show. Leonard, as always, it is a joy to have you. This time we got to hear you talk a whole lot more.
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to keep myself composed and not talk too much, but yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have both of you back on again. This was just a really great conversation that we had. Yeah. So you guys, thank you for joining us for another episode. And again, thank you to our guests. Thank you to everybody who's been involved. As always, Lauren and Nicole, it's always a pleasure to see you all. So yeah, and I will see you all next week. Now listen, if you would have the desire to be on Dear Black Woman, the podcast, go to our website. Yep, dearblackwoman.me, and up under the podcast, you can see a drop down that says listener submission. If you go to that, you can also submit your opportunity to be on our podcast as well. And you can leave a video or even just a little saying about what you think about our podcast. We would love to hear from you. Jump over to YouTube and watch some of our old episodes. You can actually watch episodes of the podcast on our website, dearblackwoman.me. And as always, we look forward to hearing from you. We love you, and we want to say thank you for being a part of what we have going on here. Those of you who'd like to advertise your businesses on Dear Black Woman, this platform, please get in touch with us and let us know. You can go over to our website as well and fill out the advertising questionnaire as well. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you for joining us again for another heartfelt and insightful episode of Dear Black Woman. We are a podcast featuring Black women from different countries, giving our global perspective on issues that affect and entertain Black women. We hope today's conversation on love and relationships remind you of the beauty and growth that comes with being your true self, healing and honoring your own journey and navigating love on your own terms, not on what other people believe. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who might actually appreciate these insights. And don't forget to like, comment, and leave a review for anything that we say. A big thank you to our special guests once again for sharing their perspectives. And as always, to Rabbit Production for the music that adds to our vibe, our intro and outro. And until next time, you guys, keep loving authentically, stay resilient, and remember that connection starts with being your true self. So I look forward to seeing you next week where we talk about community roles. Thank you and have a great night. Dear Black Woman is a podcast where we dive into the challenges, current events, and everyday realities Black women face around the world.
We're here to share real stories, offer practical advice, and create a safe space for authentic conversations that empower and inspire.
Join us each week as we connect, uplift, and celebrate the resilience and strength of Black women everywhere. Listen to Dear Black Woman on your favorite podcast platform.